This can't be real. This can't be real at all. If somebody would have asked me last year that I'd be making a trip like this, I would have said, "You're nuts." Let alone having already made a trip to Florida in the spring, Squatch in Ohio, Squatch in West Virginia, Squatch in New York, in Western New York, and now here I am headed to British Columbia. Insane. I never would have believed it. Yet in a couple of days I will also be squatching the North Cascades in Washington. And that doesn't even account for the rest of the year with trips to Pennsylvania, the Adirondacks in New York, West Virginia again, Alabama, and Kentucky. Yet here I am by invitation. Mount Rainier in the distance. So here we go into British Columbia. Okay, this is my rental truck. We're going to start back here at driver's size bed, and it is just scratch palooza right in there. Alright, see all them scratches. Brakes look all right there. Again, a lot of scratches, a lot of rubbing. You see that rubbing? You see all the scratches right down through there. Pretty truck. I do like how Dodge did that. You can see all the marks there in the driver's side rear door. Premium truck. I don't know if I would call that premium. Well, certainly do. Once again, this has got some, you can see the scratches. This has seen some better days, paint wise. Needs some buffing. We got some hard scratches there. Pretty horrible job of paint. Oh my god. Passenger side, there's some scratches going in. I understand they call that Washington road rash. The other thing that kind of bothers me too is I was noticing this. You see how much extra brake is out there. Yeah, serious rash. Okay, and I did spot at least one dent. Okay, I mean, oh, got a dent right there and needs pulled. Several dents here. Okay, that's transition. Yeah, big dent right there. One of the reasons why I wanted the truck is that I wanted outlet power, so they can charge as I go. Oh wow, look at the size of that right there. Tailgate. Liner. We ain't got enough power. Oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, not really intending to tow, but yeah, it's gonna put a big kibosh on charging a lot of material. We do have a jack. Some storage. You give him a call. Give him more door rash. For all I'm going to do, it's not that big a deal, but man, is that ever going to hamper how I charge things? Now, Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks, Jonathan, was, let's try that again. Now, Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks was meeting me at the Walmart there in Bellingham. Oddly enough, he had landed in Seattle about the same time that I took off for Bellingham. And we kind of thought that we would both meet up at this Walmart about the same time. But traffic from Seattle to Bellingham, I guess, is something to behold, because it took him quite a while to get there. And so I had gone inside, and unlike most Walmarts that I've been into, where you purchase your items, you head to you gather your items, then you purchase them up front. This one you had to buy everything in departments. So you'd go to one department, and then you'd have to find somebody to open up cabinets for you to get like a whistle or anything like that. So it was an unusual Walmart experience for me. But I had sat and I'd waited there, and I'd talked to Jonathan several times over the phone as he was making his way through traffic, one accident at a time, until he got there. Then prior to leaving from Walmart, I checked to make sure that we both had maps on our phones going into Canada and to where we'd be going. And I had told him of my experience of going through border crossings, and is that, whoever goes through first, just take your time, the other one will catch up. And as it's known by now, Jonathan did not get across the border. And when I found that out, I told him, you don't need to explain anything to me, anything more, but it's none of my business. And, we'd work something out later on. And we'll touch upon that a little bit more as the story progresses. So it's about a 3-hour trip from where we're at in Bellingham. And I'm going to speed things up and move things along here pretty quickly just so you can get a view of the terrain. Which kind of caught me off guard because leaving out of Bellingham, I kind of thought that there would be, Washington State mountains absolutely everywhere. But apparently they had to find a reasonably flat spot to put an airport. And the ride wasn't bad. It's pretty cool. And, they have a thing for these roundabouts out there, which, they're starting to make their way out here in the east. And like I said, me and Jonathan decided it would be good, as both of us are from the east, and I had met him before in Whitehall last year, to just travel together, and that way, nobody's alone. And at one point, Brent Dill, Jonathan almost had to go get him because he was having vehicle problems, but Brent ended up fixing his car on the side of the road, spending the night at AutoZone. Been there, done that. And he made his way up there and got across the Canadian border. And he was out in front of us, which isn't hard to believe. And one of the things that kind of struck me is that, this is a 3-hour drive. And I don't know if it's just because, a new place, but the distance went by quickly. You know what I mean? I didn't really notice the time. And we just cruised right along, no problem. And seeing these beautiful landscapes that are starting to come up. Starting to see the mountains here as we're crossing, going towards the border. It's very fascinating. It's a fun trip. I wish I could get everywhere this quickly. But, one of the reasons why I keep the camera up on the dashboard is not only, in case of that improbable crossing happening, where a Sasquatch goes across the road, if there's any accidents or anything, then I have a little bit of insurance there. The truck itself, it ran really good. And like I said, it's going to end up being the MVP of this trip. While the sleep system wasn't designed for that back seat, I had no issues with it whatsoever. The only time that truck really let me down was the night that I'm going to end up sleeping in the passenger seat. And that was a mistake. That was the most uncomfortable sleep that I'd ever had. Okay, let me say that correctly. I didn't sleep at all that night. And then we'd be taking a ride with Thomas, and then I kept passing out in the back seat. It's common knowledge by now, I think. Like I said, you're traveling, when I'm traveling Pennsylvania through New York, relatively the same distance, but my goodness, it feels like it takes forever compared to this drive. And then I'm going to come up onto the border, and with Jonathan's right behind me, I'm going to shut off the GoPro so that there's no issues there, cause any undue drama that I don't want or need. So now I'm across the Canadian border. Didn't have any issues getting across, although I thought some of the questions were kind of strange. Um, I actually have had a lot easier time getting across at Friendship Bridge in New York while towing a boat. But I'm just kind of slowing it down. I'd stopped once already, waiting for Jonathan to get through, and I look at my phone. Of course, at that point, it says "Welcome to Canada." Everything kind of blips, or however you want to say it. And now your phone is all switched over to kilometers, and I'm thinking, okay. And from previous experience, I knew that once you go across the border, your phone coverage changes. But again, I'm not traveling very fast, but I'm coming up on the highway very quickly. And by now, I'm starting to really kind of wonder where Jonathan's at, because I'm going to make this turn, and I'm hoping that he makes it as well. And here we go onto the Canadian highway, and which is 100 kilometers per hour. Those of you who don't know, it's a 0.6 conversion, so 100 kilometers an hour is 60 miles per hour in the U.S. I'm doing about 80, which comes to about 48 kilometers per hour, and I'm going to be doing this all the way down this highway, looking back, hoping to see Jonathan's Jeep, that a brand new Jeep, really pretty Jeep too, by the way, that he had rented. And again, as this goes on and on, eventually we're going to come to a off ramp, and the off ramp can intersection and so forth gets a little bit complicated. So I really got worried that Jonathan would miss it, that he wasn't behind, and that I hadn't seen him behind since I'd gotten into Canada, and it hadn't occurred to me that he hadn't been allowed to cross the border. Jonathan's very mindful of his P's and Q's, and I never expected any issue, but again, I'm well aware of issues going across the border for as many times as I've done it myself. Number of people that I've heard having horror stories, number of people that have been confused for other people, that have had border SWAT lock them down, because once again they were confused for somebody else who has the same name. I know if somebody had tax strips thrown on them. So it does happen, and the oddity of it is, we're traveling on a holiday weekend, and if he could have just made a phone call, he probably wouldn't have had any problems traveling the rest of the distance with us. But as it is, it being a holiday, the chances of getting anybody in government was slim to none. A little bit of noise in the background there for you. Well, we're coming into the mountains of British Columbia, and you can see how beautiful they are. See some of the snow up on top of the mountains, and it being July. And as you can tell, everybody is just passing me by. I'm surprised I don't have a Canadian Mountie on my 6, pulling me over and, questioning me, why I'm being a danger on the road. But, I did run into somebody else that was driving even slower than me, so I didn't feel that bad. It was just senior citizen travel. And again, right about here, I'm really wondering why Jonathan hasn't caught up with me, because I don't have any clue. I was concerned that maybe he didn't have his phone set up for Canada, for Canadian travel, because you got to do that prior to getting into Canada. So I was set up for international calls. I was able to call him, but I didn't know if he could receive or call out. I apologize for the noise in the background there. It's not of my control. Part of the fun's always getting there, isn't it? And again, car after car after car is just blowing right past me, doing the speed limit. Well, okay, it's Canada, so the speed limit is more like a suggestion. Just kidding. But, this part, driving these roads here out in British Columbia, I felt a lot more comfortable than, saying, driving around Toronto. Toronto, for whatever reason, the lanes are like a foot narrower, and you basically feel like you've got one tire on one white line, one tire on the other white line the entire trip. And going around Toronto usually keeps your hair on end until you kick out and take the bypass around the city, which I highly recommend. It adds distance, but you're going to get through a lot quicker than what you would going through the heart of Toronto itself. But I didn't do too bad. I mean, I figured for the whole trip, the flight out there was amazing. No issues whatsoever. There's you had direct from Cleveland to Seattle, and then from Seattle to Bellingham. That flight from Bellingham, I mean, you get up to cruising altitude, then you're starting your descent. And it's worth every penny from what I experienced and what I saw. The didn't have any luggage issues or nothing. It was really calm. So here I've gotten off the highway, And now I'm really concerned because I'm almost into Harrison Hot Springs and still no Jonathan. And I'm going to make a turn up here, I believe. And I'm watching the sun slowly go down. And I'm looking for some place to just turn off and set and wait. And hope that, he'll be showing up. But, just rest assured, this is not going to be the only border crossing I make in which I lose the wingman. But, I kept running into that wingman all the way to our next destination at one point. And, a couple other things, I'll be honest, I wasn't super comfortable about making this trip. I don't have the traditional view set that a lot of people have. I just go out and whatever I find I bring back, regardless of what it is. And, a couple times in the past, I bumped heads with some people, and I'm going to tell you that I am so glad I made this trip and got to meet these wonderful people and got to know the real them. And it was a trip of a lifetime. I just wish I had more time. And at this point, I am really freaking out that I haven't seen them. I finally found a place to pull off. And I'm going to sit here and make some phone calls. I'm going to call Jen in the States, see if she can text them. And I'm going to sit here for about 30 to 45 minutes and look for Jonathan. Sorry, Jonathan, I almost said Jeff. But anyhow, I've met some wonderful people on this trip. Nikki is fantastic. Gerry, Brent is... there's so much more to Brent than what people get to see. And he's actually super amazing to be out there with. Thomas Steenberg, Mike the Howler. I got to meet Bill Reed for 5 minutes. And that was, we didn't get to talk very much. But, by about this time, I'm about wiped out. It's been, I slept 2 hours before making the drive to Cleveland. Did not sleep on the flight to Seattle. I had the little kid kicking on the back of my chair, flying into Bellingham, so I have been up for a long time at this point. So I waited as long as I could, and I'm watching the sunset, and I'm thinking to myself, I've got to get on the road and try to make it to this place before dark. I don't want to be traveling around in the middle of the night trying to find it. And, we'll launch a search party if need be, in case, Jonathan took a wrong turn. Right now I'm thinking he's somewhere in Canada. Janet tried to message him. I also had called home to Mrs. T and told her how I was progressing. And just kept going. I didn't have much choice. As it was, like I said, I don't have footage of it, but when I pulled into the camera's going to kick out once I get around Harrison Hot Springs. Hopefully you got some of the beautiful footage in there. But once I pulled in, started getting towards Sasquatch Provincial Park, it splits, and I wasn't sure if I was supposed to go take one road or the other. And as I've said in the past, so far, when I first pulled in, I saw this small truck, and I only saw 2 people. I didn't see the third. And I thought, wow, the park crew works pretty late. And I just kept traveling down the road. Went past them, didn't even get a good look at them. Went past them, went down the road, and I'm just kind of, moving rather slow, going back in there, not certain if I'm where I want to be because the GPS and everything's kicked out. Once I got around Harrison Hot Springs, or actually once you go into the park, everything dies. GPS and the whole 9 yards. And so I start slowing down. And guess what? I'm waving at this, thinking that this park truck has some directions to where the camping spot is, and ends up being Thomas Steenberg, Nikki, and Brent in the back of the truck. And I was like, oh, you are the people I'm looking for, And they guide me, and actually they stopped, and Thomas told one of the stories. Hopefully I've got it captured. I don't have everything downloaded yet. Hopefully by this weekend I'll have that done. I'm on my way to Hocking Hills for the weekend. I'm going to meet up with Steve Coles and see how he's doing. And we were supposed to do some hiking, but I got a bunch of pins in my hand. So, yeah, I'm pretty much hanging out at the cabin while everybody else is doing the hiking and bigfooting. But it was a good time. I mean, just look at that view. Imagine waking up and seeing that every day. Or even, if you were one of the earlier settlers. Of course, and again, you had different things to worry about. But lovely area. Like I said, once you get up to the lake here, it's just gorgeous. The water looked like it was crystal in that lake. And as I'm told, most of the western lakes are. I've never had the opportunity to fish that, but hopefully next time when I make a trip out here, and there will be a next time, I'll have a fishing rod in hand. And as you'll hear, Thomas told us a lot of history of this area, of the mountains, a lot of the sightings. He's a well-known figure here. You're going to see that I'm going to go by a lot of the homes where like John Green lived. We're also going to stop by this museum that we'll be passing here shortly. And definitely come back with some Thomas Steenberg books. And again, the whole time I'm thinking in the back of my mind, where's Jonathan? And just preparing myself for mentally to go out on the rescue tonight. Wouldn't be my first rodeo. And really, those aren't a whole lot of fun. But as it turns out, things are going to work out here in a little bit. I get to meet Nikki and Brent, and Jonathan has not arrived, and we are talking about, what to do if he's lost out there at night, and how we'd go about retrieving him. And it just so happens that by some minor miracle, Jonathan gets a text through to me on his phone informing me that he wouldn't be able to join us. So Brent and I hopped in the truck after we got the text message from Jonathan saying that he wasn't going to be able to make it. So we drove out to the front of the park where it had cell phone service, and he had left me a message. And the message was that he wasn't going to be able to make it. They won't let him cross the border because of something that in his background. At which point I just turned off the recorder, and then I called him back and I said, Jonathan, it's really none of my business. You got to the point where you were telling me what happened. I've met you in Whitehall. I know you're a quality person. And pass is a pass, and you don't need to explain anything to me. Things happen at the border all the time. And it did. It ended up being something trivial. But my biggest concern, and Brent's biggest concern at the same time, was that, he came all the way out there and, spent a lot of money. And the poor guy, he had more issues than just a border crossing. And those are for him to tell, not me. I think the Jeep has came out. He also had some extra expenses. But, our biggest concern was don't get back on the plane and fly back home. You're in the Cascades. Or you're in Washington. You're in the Mecca of Bigfoot. This is, you may never get back out here again. So, Brent set him grid coordinates to where he goes. And at that point, I had pretty much decided that I would leave early, catch up with Jonathan so he didn't have to be alone the entire time. And, he'd get to share his experience with somebody. And as it turns out and works out, Brent and I both will take off early, which, that was a big part of it too. I didn't want to say that out loud. He flew all the way out here to meet these people. These are heroes and icons to him. And, that had to be a lot of wind taken out of his sail. So, Brent decided that he was going to make the trip as well. And, that lit Jonathan's eyes up when we could see him a couple of days later. And, it worked out. It was the right thing to do. But we're going to have fun. We all had fun, sure that everybody got to do something together. But these trips, I don't care if it's Florida, West Virginia, they're all too short. You don't get to really spend time with each other because you're either messing with gear or cooking or prepping. You're always doing something. Very rarely do you get to sit down, chill out, and just kind of like sit around the fire and get to know each other. That was one of my biggest things about Florida. We went down there. I met so many people. Alex, I knew. Mike Ann, I've grown to know better. I got to spend a good amount of time with Matt Larson. Him and I have also talked a lot over the phone, and I have a lot to be grateful for to Matt if he's watching. And but there were other people. They may not think quite the same as I do, but they, in fact, a lot of people, you rarely get a chance to think the same as anybody else. But Brian and Chewy, another high quality person. Tim T, the way he approached with a hunter's mindset, it kind of like got me that why wasn't I doing that? That's what I do. And
Kathy, Stan, all of them. Everybody brought something to the table. And you may not agree with, an individual as a whole, but there's pieces, parts of magic in each one of them that you can find something that you can apply and you can take out there and that you can use. And that's actually the big secret to Bigfooting and meeting these groups, is just seeing them tiny pieces, parts, and how they do things and how it can make you better. And I would go back out with any of those people. And like I said, we don't necessarily have the same viewpoints on some things. Not a big deal. But we're out there for the same goal. And hopefully someday somebody will accomplish that goal. I don't know. But this trip here, it was amazing. Nikki's amazing. Brent's amazing. Gerry's amazing. Oh, I wish I could have talked to Gerry much longer. Really, all we got a chance to talk about comic book wise was that he was a Spider-Man guy and I was an X-Men guy. And but we talked about some of our favorite artists and some of our favorite stories for a couple minutes. And no, Mike the Howler, I wish I would have gotten to try some of his cuisine. Mike is a super nice guy. Bill Reed, like I said, I didn't get a chance to talk to him very much. It was pretty much a handshake, and then, things were going, and then there was Thomas. And there is a walking encyclopedia in that man. And the one thing that really comes out of this, especially on Nikki's part, is capturing Thomas Steenberg for the generations of Bigfooters to come. The man, he's one of a kind, and he's going to be a legend. He is the fifth horseman. Although I don't know how much I like that analogy, but I guess if they can use it in wrestling, they can use it in the Bigfoot world. All right, so we're at camp. I'm not quite sure what time it is, and to be honest with you, I'm pretty tired. So Brent and Nikki's gone out. I got in almost at dark, so most of my stuff is in chaos right now. And rather than fighting to get it all out, and the headache that I've got, I just let them take the gear, and I'm just gonna sit here and kind of relax and see how they do. I don't think they're going very far. So, and a couple other things we got to work on. We got to get our comms up. Like I said, right now most of my stuff is in a complete disarray. I got down here late, and don't want to mess around with chasing everything down. I just got to figure out what I did with certain things. So what happened was I was coming in, Thomas and Nikki and them, Thomas was showing them some stories. Oh, ooh, that's still bright.
And they're out and about right now. To be honest with you, I'm about Walking Dead, so don't really have much to get. You got that owl fired up.
A Bigfoot imitating an owl.
I already have to take a break, Brent. It was hard for me.
You're missing some tough terrain.
That's tough. It's really moist. So every step you take, you drop down and back.
That's hard on you because we as people really like that soft, that hard surface to
Yeah.
bounce off of.
Well, it's the humidity that's killing me right now.
I left my hydrogen heater at home.
Oh. But I've been walking all day. I wonder how many steps I had. Oh, shit.
Oh, 1,000.
I'm tired. Almost 13? 12, 8, 3, 6. So I thought I could go all the way over there. I can't. My knees are already done today.
A little bit of time and we'll get her. Like I said, if I could have got in here before daylight, I got a mess in there right now.
Yeah.
And I had to break down all my stuff, so.
Yeah. I know. Well, we've had all day, to do that. Well, we got here around 2:30. Around there, somewhere around there. And
I don't think you have to go far.
but as soon as you get up to a certain point, it just tilts. So you're sliding as you're walking. And he goes, here, you can sit down right here. I go, you want me to sit down on that log? And he said, yeah, go ahead. And I put my stick right through it. It would have just collapsed. It's so wet. It was completely just broken apart. It looked like it was solid. You can't even step on any of the logs. They just collapse. Collapse like powder,
That's
It
crazy.
just-
It's crazy how much fauna and terrain changes in between the different areas and different rainforests.
Yeah. I got totally turned around out there. We only went down and then back up.
Mhm.
And then I don't know, on the way back, I got totally changed around. I was like, I don't know where we are.
Well, see, you do out here, especially in the dark when you got a canopy like this.
Yeah. I can't get my bearings at all.
Because normally I have a pretty good indicator for north.
Mm-hmm.
I know north is that way now, but I didn't have that earlier.
See, I thought that was south.
And even then you gotta watch for
That's not south, are you sure?
that's north.
Okay, wait a minute. Our camp is, where am I? Our camp is over there. That's south, that way then. Because the lake is right. Oh,
That's
if
east.
the lake's there,
east,
so that means it's
to the east.
west. Told you, I'm all screwed up.
I'll get the map. Well, we made extra copies for everybody.
Uh-huh. I don't know if it would even help if I did.
Well, it's a big. You got there a laser? Oh, you got Lumix. Oh, no. Okay.
It's just infrared. Whatever. Let's see. Yeah, it does show him. He's dark. Oh shit, that's not the right button. This one.
Sometimes too, that's a big one, just sitting there and working with your gear.
Yeah, I'm not good with it.
More familiarized with it. It seems easy when you take it out of the box until you get it out in the woods.
Yeah, I'm fumbling around like, what the heck?
I mean,
Now I should show how dark it is. Which way? This way.
so who's all still here?
They all left.
Oh, they all are.
Gerry's in his thing. Mike and the girls are already in bed. Oh, shoot. I'm supposed to... Okay, I guess it doesn't matter. That was a cool owl sound, though.
Challenging others for his territory.
They're big. They get really big.
And they are, you don't see them. They are aggressive. They will
Really?
They will dive bomb you.
I was just going to say, like, there's too many trees right there.
Yeah, down in Florida, I had that one go right past my face.
Oh.
And so close, all I saw was an eyeball.
Look, Brent. I'm like really exhausted, but I've already been walking today a lot. I was like, I'm already at 13,000 because it gave me a little.
Oh, nice.
Like 12,000. 12,000 left. Most of that was chasing that dang warden when I was having issues with the site.
Warden?
Don't they call them wardens here? Oh, camp, BC, BC camp. We call them rangers, but they call them wardens.
Well, did he give you a hard time or something?
Some guy came and parked in here. We were over there we had just gotten here. And he came and he parked and I seen him, so I came over. I seen Gerry come across and talk to him. And so I walked up with my paper. Did I have my papers in my hand? No, I didn't. I just came up here. And you have the spot? And I go, yeah, I have this spot. Do you have proof? Because over at the front, it says that this is open. And I said, yeah, I have the paperwork. So I marched over there and got my paperwork and showed him. And he grabbed it out of my hand like that.
Jeez.
And looked at it. And he said, well, you're going to have issues because up front it's listed as open.
Jeez.
And I'm like, okay.
There's that one right over here. That's open.
There was other spots up over here. But he just didn't want to move. So once I had my paperwork, and he said, you're going to have issues, I went marching to go find us somebody. And I ended up all the way at the very beginning over there.
Wow.
How many sightings did Thomas say the area has? When I bumped into you guys at first, I was like, okay. I didn't even see Brent sitting in the back.
Oh.
I was like, who's that?
It's a cool little ride.
It It sounds like it's gonna break down too.
Yeah, I'm like, that sounds like it's, yeah, some of the same issues I'm gonna have, or I had.